The arena exploded into absolute chaos as two of the most destructive forces in professional wrestling stood face to face in a collision that nobody saw coming. Bron Breakker and Roman Reigns finally went head-to-head in a singles match that had the entire WWE Universe on the edge of their seats from the opening bell to the shocking conclusion. This wasn't just another match on Monday Night Raw. This was a statement about power, dominance, and the future of the company itself. What happened when these two unstoppable athletes clashed will have repercussions for months to come, and if you think you know how this story ends, you're about to be proven wrong in the most spectacular way possible. Before we dive into every brutal moment of this incredible encounter, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss a single update on what happens next in this explosive rivalry. The night started with an intensity that could be felt throughout the entire building. Fans packed into the arena knowing they were about to witness something special, but even the most optimistic predictions couldn't have prepared anyone for what was coming. The atmosphere was electric as the production crew prepared for what everyone knew would be a historic confrontation. Monday Night Raw had been building toward this moment for weeks, with tensions rising between the established order and the new generation hungry to take over. The collision course had been set, and there was no turning back. When Bron Breakker's music hit, the crowd reaction was split right down the middle. Some fans roared their approval for the young powerhouse who had been demolishing everything in his path since arriving on the main roster. Others jeered, not ready to accept that someone so new could challenge the established hierarchy. Breakker walked to the ring with pure confidence radiating from every step. His physique alone told the story of someone built for war, with muscles that looked like they were carved from granite. There was no fear in his eyes, no hesitation in his movement. He climbed into the ring and immediately began pacing like a caged animal ready to be unleashed. The intensity pouring off him was almost intimidating even through the television screen. The lights dimmed and the familiar sound that has dominated WWE for years began to play. Roman Reigns emerged with Paul Heyman by his side, carrying himself with the authority of someone who has conquered every challenge put before him. The tribal chief moved with calculated precision, taking his time to acknowledge his presence while the crowd delivered a mixed reaction of their own. Some fans still recognized his undeniable talent and accomplishments. Others had grown tired of his reign of dominance and were ready for change. Reigns handed his championship to the timekeeper and locked eyes with Breakker from the entrance ramp. The stare-down began before either man had even entered the ring properly, and you could feel the tension building with every passing second. The referee called for the bell and both competitors circled each other carefully. Neither man wanted to make the first mistake because they both knew how devastating their opponent could be with even the slightest opening. Breakker made the first move, shooting in for a collar and elbow tie-up that immediately showcased the raw power both men possessed. They jockeyed for position, neither willing to give an inch. Reigns used his experience to transition into a side headlock, but Breakker powered out with ease, sending the tribal chief into the ropes. On the rebound, Reigns attempted a shoulder block that would normally send opponents crashing to the mat. Breakker didn't budge. He stood his ground and invited Reigns to try again. Roman hit the ropes a second time with more force behind his momentum. The collision between the two was like watching freight trains crash into each other. Both men staggered but neither went down. The crowd erupted at the display of pure strength from both competitors. Breakker smiled, almost enjoying the physical test. He challenged Reigns to hit the ropes one more time. The tribal chief, never one to back down from a challenge, obliged. This time Breakker timed it perfectly and launched Roman Reigns across the ring with a thunderous powerslam that shook the entire ring. The impact echoed throughout the arena and fans jumped to their feet. Reigns rolled out of the ring immediately to regroup with Heyman, who was frantically trying to provide counsel to his tribal chief. Breakker wasn't interested in giving his opponent time to recover. He charged across the ring and launched himself over the top rope with a suicide dive that caught Reigns completely off guard. Both men crashed into the barricade with sickening force. The referee began his count as both competitors struggled to get back to their feet. Breakker was up first, feeding off the energy of the crowd. He grabbed Reigns and threw him back into the ring, sliding in quickly to maintain his advantage. The young powerhouse pulled Roman to his feet and whipped him into the corner with authority. Breakker charged in with a running clothesline that connected flush, causing Reigns to slump in the corner. Sensing an opportunity to put the tribal chief away early, Breakker pulled Reigns out of the corner and positioned him for his devastating spear. He backed up to the opposite corner, measuring his opponent. The crowd was on their feet anticipating the move that has finished so many opponents. Breakker charged forward with incredible speed for a man his size, but at the last possible second, Reigns moved. Breakker crashed shoulder first into the ring post, his momentum carrying him all the way through and out to the floor on the other side. The tide had turned in an instant. Roman Reigns began to take control, using his veteran instincts to slow down the pace of the match. He knew he couldn't match Breakker's explosive power move for move, so he adjusted his strategy. Reigns focused his attack on the shoulder that had just collided with the steel post. He delivered calculated strikes and submission holds designed to wear down his younger opponent. The tribal chief applied a shoulder lock that had Breakker grimacing in pain, but the second-generation superstar refused to tap out. He powered his way back to his feet and lifted Reigns up, dropping him with a back suplex that broke the hold but also caused pain to shoot through his injured shoulder. Both men were down as the referee began his count. The match had already exceeded expectations and both competitors were showing the physical toll. At the count of 6, both men started to stir. They used the ropes to pull themselves up, eyes locked on each other across the ring. They met in the center and began exchanging punches in a slugfest that had the crowd chanting with every shot. Breakker landed a hard right hand that rocked Reigns. Roman fired back with one of his own. Back and forth they went until Breakker got the upper hand with a series of rapid-fire punches that backed Reigns into the corner. The referee forced a break and Breakker backed up. As soon as the referee moved, Breakker charged in again. This time Reigns was ready and caught him with a desperate Superman punch that came out of nowhere. Breakker stumbled backward but somehow stayed on his feet. Reigns couldn't believe it. He set up for the spear, the move that has ended countless matches in championship reigns. He loaded up and charged forward with everything he had. At the last second, Breakker sidestepped and caught Reigns coming in, lifting him up and planting him with a spine buster that shook the ring. The impact was devastating and the crowd was losing their minds. Breakker signaled for his finishing maneuver. He pulled Reigns to his feet and positioned him for the Gorilla Press Power Slam, the move that has destroyed everyone who has felt it. With seemingly superhuman strength despite his injured shoulder, Breakker lifted the Tribal Chief high above his head. He held him there for a moment, showcasing his raw power to everyone watching. Then he drove Reigns down to the mat with authority. The sound of the impact could be heard in the cheap seats. Breakker hooked the leg for the cover. The referee slid into position and counted. 1, 2. The entire arena held its breath. At the last possible millisecond, Roman Reigns got his shoulder up. Breakker couldn't believe it. He looked at the referee in disbelief, but there was no arguing with the call. It was only a 2 count. Frustrated but still determined, Breakker pulled himself to his feet and waited for Reigns to get up. The Tribal Chief was moving slowly, clearly affected by the devastating power slam. As Reigns got to his knees, Breakker charged in looking for his spear to finish things off. But experience and ring awareness saved Roman Reigns one more time. As Breakker came in, Reigns caught him and lifted him up, driving him down with a massive Samoan drop that he seemed to pull from somewhere deep within. Both men were down again and the crowd was on their feet applauding the effort from both competitors. This match had delivered beyond anyone's expectations. The referee began another count as neither man moved. At 5, Reigns started crawling toward the ropes. At 7, Breakker began to stir. Both men made it to their feet before the 10 count, using the ropes to hold themselves up. They met in the center of the ring once again, exhaustion evident on both faces. Reigns struck first with a headbutt that stunned Breakker. He followed up with another Superman punch that connected clean. Breakker went down to one knee but refused to fall completely. Roman backed up and loaded up for another spear. This was it. He had to end it now before Breakker could mount another comeback. Reigns charged forward with everything he had left. The spear connected flush and both men went down hard. Roman draped an arm over Breakker for the cover. The referee counted. 1, 2, 3. The bell rang and Roman Reigns had done it. The Tribal Chief had defeated the young upstart in a match that took everything both men had to give. But the reaction wasn't what anyone expected. As Roman's music played and the referee raised his hand in victory, the crowd gave both men a standing ovation. Even Reigns seemed to acknowledge that Breakker had pushed him further than most opponents had in a long time. As Roman celebrated his victory, Breakker rolled out of the ring, holding his shoulder but looking more determined than ever. The message was clear. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Paul Heyman joined Reigns in the ring, raising his Tribal Chief's arm high in the air. But even in victory, there was a look in Roman's eyes that suggested he knew something significant had just happened. Bron Breakker had just proven he belonged in the main event picture. He had taken the Tribal Chief to his absolute limit and come within inches of defeating him. The landscape of Monday Night Raw had shifted, and everyone in that arena knew they had just witnessed the beginning of something special. The future had arrived, and even though he didn't win this battle, Bron Breakker had sent a message to everyone watching. He was ready for the top of the mountain, and it was only a matter of time before he got there. As the show went off the air, cameras caught Breakker on the entrance ramp, staring back at Roman Reigns in the ring. The look they exchanged told the entire story. This rivalry was far from over. If anything, it had just begun. The question now wasn't if these two would face each other again, but when, and what would be on the line when they did. Monday Night Raw had delivered a classic encounter between two generations of superstars, and the WWE Universe was already demanding a rematch. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss any updates on when these two titans will collide again, because based on what we just witnessed, the next chapter is going to be even more explosive than what we saw tonight.